Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Brock Beard from LastCar.info, and welcome to Behind the Wall, the post-race show that comes on after the race. We're unofficially pending the results of post-race inspection. Congratulations to Chase Briscoe for scoring his first Cup win of the season in a dramatic finish with teammate Christopher Bell, who came very close to winning despite the fractured wrist he's been dealing with since Michigan. A tremendous run for both these drivers, who both did so well last week at Sears Point, with Briscoe coming so close to beating Shane Van Gisbergen in turn 11 there on the final lap, and Bell finishing fifth in that same race. A fantastic battle between these two drivers and teammates on a great evening for Joe Gibbs Racing and a great evening for the Chicagoland Speedway. I mean, undoubtedly, a lot of the fans there dealing with all kinds of conditions this weekend between the traffic and the heavy weather and everything that was going on. Undoubtedly, a lot of things that still need to be worked on, much like with San Diego here a couple of weeks ago. But in terms of the attendance there at the track, it looked like a tremendous crowd on hand. And they certainly got, I would say they got their money's worth there with the finish of the race here today. We'll talk about the Cup Series race. We'll talk about the O'Reilly Series race as well. And then a little bit later in the show, I got something a little bonus segment here that I'm going to try out here on the show, which will be a drawing for the magnets and the hero card packets for my Patreon members here that I'm going to do while here on the show. In the past, I've done it on Twitter, and here I'm going to do something a little bit different, and we'll get into that a little bit later. And then if we have time, we'll do a trivia segment here a little bit later on the show. Hope you're having a wonderful 4th of July weekend. Happy 250th birthday to the United States. I hope you enjoyed the video I did the other day there narrating the Declaration of Independence there. Want to do something a little special here for this weekend. And also wanted to test out a different setup here on the show. Brought out my mic that I use over at the racetrack here for the show to see if it sounds a little better here. And then using my old pod mic for recording the videos going forward. So still testing things out here on this end, and I think that'll be another element from this at the same time. We have okay, hang on, Beast of Metal. Do we have an audio issue? Hopefully we're not having a problem with that. Again, we are trying something different here today. Am I getting, just making sure. All right. Let me know if anybody else is having audio issues here. We are trying something a little different here this time around, but then we'll get into this. Okay, still have the one mic on here. Okay. Hopefully we don't have too much reverb here on this as well, and then we'll get into everything on this. We're in the same setup that we had from before, but again, yeah, trying something different with the mic. He said it was on his end. Okay, good. Okay, yeah, all right. Well, good. Well, we will bump right along here then again. So, again, hope you're having a wonderful 4th of July weekend. Thank you for tuning in here for the show, and we'll jump right into the action here from tonight. Again, I thought this was a very enjoyable race right from the drop of the hat here. I thought we had a great show there between, again, Christopher Bell and Chase Briscoe's battle there to the finish. We had some long green flag runs, letting some strategies play out. An exhilarating battle there towards the end between William Byron and Briscoe, where he had a one-lap difference there. Briscoe coming in just before Byron and zipping past him on that curved back straightaway there at Chicagoland. A really cool battle there at the end, and really fun to see the strategies play out. And again, it had just a little bit of everything here. In this one here as well. Looking through the results here, Briscoe winning over Bell by a margin victory of 276 thousandths of a second. Denny Hamlin in the third spot there, despite scuffing the wall in the closing stages, gets a good finish out of it. William Byron, after leading 94 laps, finishes in the fourth position. And Alex Bowman, the most recent winner at Chicagoland back in 2019, comes home to round out the top 5, 8 seconds back of the leaders. There at the end. Bubba Wallace with a very popular Space Jam 30th anniversary paint scheme. Looked to potentially have another win under his belt there after the interview this past weekend mentioning meeting Cookie Monster and then winning the Brickyard last year. Very nearly was able to do it again here. He was very much part of that battle at one point with Denny Hamlin and Briscoe there at the front of the pack. Ends up with a 6th place finish there ahead of his friend Ryan Blaney in 7th. Ty Gibbs looked very good in this race as well, finishing in 8th. And then two more 23-11 entries with Corey Heim, your San Diego winner, in the 9th spot. His first start back since winning that race. And then Riley Herbst in the top 10 again, following up his top 10 run in San Diego as well, with a fantastic run for him. So again, a lot of drivers that look like they were right in the mix, staying in there at the end. What can you say here on this end as well? Yeah, Heim with a tremendous run there. Glad to see him able to transfer that over onto the ovals, which we've seen him do so well in the Truck Series in particular. Yeah, again, it's going to be very exciting once he gets some runs next year. And then wherever Riley Herbst ends up, he's definitely filling his repertoire with some great finishes. And in the second half of the season, I anticipate seeing much more of those as well. Great deal there for the drivers there at the front of the field. Looking further back, though, we did have, it's a tale of two races there for the drivers at the back of the field. Poor Connor Zilic, once again, ends up with his fourth last place finish of the year, his fourth in the last 7 races, I believe, dating back to his 3 race in a row last place streak that started in the Coca-Cola 600. A disastrous run there at the very beginning. And again, an incident that was not his fault. Just in the wrong place at the wrong time, had a bit of a stack up coming off of turn 2, ended up with Ryan Preece spinning right where Zilic was. He cut left to try to avoid him, and unfortunately, as we see so often in these tracks these days, with the grass taken out of the speedway, you have a car goes straight into the inside wall, just nothing he can do at that point there, tore up the car. Team tried to get back to the DVP zone and get back onto the speedway, unfortunately caused so much damage to the front clip that really nothing else they could be doing there at the meantime. So the 88 ends up in last place. Ironically, the car number that Bowman drove to victory here in 2019, of course, back when it was the Hendrick Motorsports entry, not Team Trackhouse there. But regardless, Zilic ends up your last place finisher, extending his lead over Briscoe, who had the couple of last place runs earlier this year. What's been a all over the place kind of season there for the number 19 team. But again, it's going to be something to watch going forward here too. Hopefully Zilic can rebound as we saw him do at Sears Point last week with that 7th place finish and running as well as he did there as well. Austin Hill, your next to last place finisher, ended up getting apparently some payback from the incident in San Diego there, where Hill swung wide and admittedly did take the blame for that incident in turn 1, where Zilic clobbered the wall in turn 1 during a battle for the lead and ended up collecting teammate Shane Van Gisbergen there as well, really ending the day for both the Jet Fighter paint schemes with the Red Bull deal there at Trackhouse. And, even Richard Childress coming over the radio soon after and saying, that was for California. That was done on purpose from that. I haven't heard what Van Gisbergen has said in his post-race yet, but Austin Hill certainly very frustrated about that. Can't certainly blame him there, especially since he took the blame for it at the time there. But, again, these drivers keep receipts. Whenever something like that happens, if they get a chance to pay back, then you're going to have a situation like that. And unfortunately, we saw that in this case here, where Van Gisbergen didn't really give Hill much room, but he came down across his nose there going into turn 3 and ended up with a very significant amount of damage. I know I saw a lot of people mentioning that we haven't really seen, too many cars get that much damage here in the next gen era. But with the crash zones being changed for what they are now, it's good to see the car at least take a good amount of that brunt, so the driver's not taking it. Good to see Hill be able to get out of that car there as well. As frustrating of a run as it was. We'll see if he turns things around next week. I know people have been circling Atlanta next week at the Echo Park Speedway for Hill's dominance of that track, certainly on the O'Reilly side, and now comes into that event doubleheader. If he bounces back from this and has a good run, it'll be something to see there for sure. But we'll find out if that's going to be the case there in short order. That'll be one of the storylines we'll be following here next Sunday there as well. But Hill today ends up in the 37th spot. Tyler Reddick, once again, loses massive amount of points there, especially after Denny Hamlin, this time getting a good run where he didn't at Sears Point after the spin in turn 7. This time around, Hamlin in the top 5 and Reddick at the back of the field. Looked like some piece of debris went right through the radiator, damaged the oil cooler as well, had to replace both of those. Team getting that repaired in 28 laps and getting the car back on track there, ultimately finishing 30 laps down in the 36th spot there for Reddick. Very costly day for the Jordan Brand scheme there on the number 45 And again, it just shows that, no matter how dominant you are, if you start having, a series of bad races and things start turning around, especially with more points given to race winners now, you can have a very turbulent point system. I got taken to issue with some people online there when I was discussing about how every week I'm moving cars around on our diecast leaderboard here. Good runs are rewarded and bad runs seem to be punished. And maybe we haven't, obviously we haven't seen any changes in the point lead until just last week, but everything behind the field, behind the leader, has been all over the place, especially people trying to get into the top 16. Seems like that changes every week. But yeah, this was another example of it, and I still do hope that maybe we're going to get to a point where we can actually have full season championship points again. I think we're on a very good track with this, but it would be fantastic to see how much further Denny Hamlin and Tyler Reddick can push this, at least in these first 26 races here before things get regrouped and we find out how things shake out. Again, I'm glad that the chase format that we have is still preserving some of that advantage there for whoever leads going into it there. But again, I still maintain that a full season championship doesn't need any help. And this part of the season, I hope, is opening a lot of people's eyes as to that. We're having a wonderful battle there for the championship. And that's just among these two drivers. While they're battling, who knows who's able to kind of close the gap? Is Briscoe going to get on a tear here? William Byron finally getting a good run? Is that going to kind of ignite his season and get him back up there? What's going to happen with Kyle Larson? He's been hot and cold this year. Today was definitely cold with that spin into the grass there and losing a couple of laps and not really able to kind of recover from that. But we'll find out what's going to be the story from there. And these are so much more exciting than any kind of playoff format can generate as well. Because again, so you can win 3 races at the beginning of the year. You got to the point where people are accusing 23XI of cheating and all that. But it's like, look, you're going to have some teams and drivers just hit on a combination. Phil Elliott did it in 1992. We all know he didn't win the championship that year. So, again, I mean, he won 4 of the first 5 races of that year after crashing out of the Daytona 500 and actually didn't have the point lead for most of that stretch that he had. So, it just shows that, how quickly things can turn around. And that's what the old, the old former system there, not having this deal this time around. So, I think we're heading in a good position there as well. But yeah, it was a tremendous, just crazy deal there. I see Marcus, mentioning that as well. The back-to-back 36th place finishes for Reddick. Last week that being last place. This time had a couple open cars in the field there, so ends up finishing ahead of a couple of guys there. But you're right, bizarre mechanical issues there as well. Just hemorrhaged oil and water out of that thing after, again, what looked like a real small bit of damage. But that's all it takes on these cars here this day, and it's good to see that the unpredictability of the sport is still very much alive and well. We're not just watching traffic go by here. It could be something really bizarre could happen just completely out of nowhere. Reminded me so much of what we saw with Corey Day when he hit that sewer grate over at in the O'Reilly race back at San Diego. I may, during tonight's show, go into some other topics for San Diego and Sears Point, maybe a little bit later in the show. I feel like I didn't cover those, especially at Sears Point, very well. Sears Point, I was just literally falling asleep in my chair, and I was kind of losing track of what I was kind of going through on that one. So I apologize. The last week's show was I was just a little bit too comfortable there in the cabin there last week. And San Diego might have a couple of things to brush up on here too. I read some interesting articles from some fans that were attending the races there too. So I may jump into that as well in a little bit. But again, I got to say, I'm very pleased with this track. I kind of got the same feeling that maybe a number of people did, especially after the O'Reilly race yesterday, which was even more competitive and really featured the aggression of these drivers very well. Make you wonder, it's like, why do we take this race off the schedule again? I actually, very reminiscent of Rockingham when Lastbro and myself were out there that weekend. We're like, why on earth would they take this race off the schedule? It's fantastic with these cars. And you can see the different grooves that are being run and stuff. And it's wonderful to see that with a track that was very much of a newer generation. That this track came in to the Cup Series in 2001. It'll be featured in a later episode of 500 Days when I get there. Again, was very similar to Kansas, except it has that very interesting slight curve to the back straightaway that I always thought was kind of interesting. And I seem to make this track very demanding. But at the same time, in its later years, was a track that for I think 3 years in a row didn't have a single DNF, and was very strange in that sense. I think we've only probably talked about the race once there on this show. I think 2019 was right when we started doing the streams here. So it kind of shows like how long ago that's been as well. Um, but yeah, I thought it would put together some great racing out there, and made things fun to see, and good to see kind of that connection to some of the past races there. Kevin Harvick winning the first two races out there. First one actually beating Robert Presley, who had a great run for the Jasper Motorsports team back then. And I felt like NASCAR Classics as well did a great job hyping that up this week with, again, some great old footage there from 2001 and the action back then too. And of course, seeing that clip of that orange, that inflatable orange rolling across the track back when Tropicana sponsored the Cup race back then. So a little bit of everything too. It's hard for me to think of 2001 as being that much of a throwback, but undoubtedly it is. And indeed, a great segment during this broadcast as well, showing the 25th anniversary upcoming of the Pepsi 400, the Dale Jr. one. Again, another thing I'm very anxious to get to in 500 days, but we'll get there as well. And yeah, great seeing some firsthand reactions from other drivers talking about that as well. So we'll see what happens there too. Um, but yeah, again, I was really in the mood for some good racing here tonight. In particular, there, and I definitely left this one very much enjoying it there too. Now, undoubtedly, again, as with San Diego, I think that yeah, there is a lot of stuff that needs to be worked on there. The rain that just came through there was just unfortunately so aggressive this time. I'm not an expert in the region. I know Junior was mentioning about in that Chicago area that the storms there are just nothing to mess with, and certainly the ones we had both on Friday and on Saturday were just absurd. I mean, it looked like you're on a ship out there in the middle of the ocean. And yeah, I feel for anybody that was out there in the outfield there, especially anybody camping out there or anybody in RVs or anything, seeing shots of people warming their clothes on the hoods of their cars in the middle of the night and things like that. And then on top of that, then you got today where the weather was significantly better, and the race being later in the day, but still massive traffic, people avoiding the parking lots that were pretty much consumed by the rain, and trying to park further from the track and have a long time getting there. I don't. There's been comparisons made to Kentucky in 2011. I wouldn't quite go that far. I mean, some of the roads did seem kind of narrow there. But and again, perhaps a lot of that really hasn't changed since it's been taken off the schedule. Although again, 2019 is not all that long ago in terms of infrastructure, I would say. Um, but definitely things that need to be need to be worked on there as well. I don't know if it's an option to pave more of the parking lots, or I mean whatever the other options are. Have better shuttle service to get people into the track. Maybe some things that they're still working on here too. I have no doubt that NASCAR is working on that. I mean, again, talking back to our San Diego show, and I know there were many complaints from that. In fact, both my brother and myself actually filed filled in the customer service thing from that weekend, because we both had different thoughts on things that could be changed there at the track as well. It's there's things that need to be worked on, but I know that NASCAR tries to make things work at the same time. I know during the San Diego weekend when they were trying to get more vendors out there, it was an issue to try to get food that weekend. And there were some issues, with some of the vendors there as well. Standing in line for 90 minutes just trying to get food. I mean, we were standing in 90 minutes just to get the credentials going into that track. Clearly there were things that maybe they were anticipating a smaller crowd or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of this with Chicagoland here as well. And, I think whatever it is, I guess from one year to the next, just whatever they learn from one of these races, I hope they're applying it to other tracks, because it does seem like it's kind of the same issues. It's getting people in and out. It's having the traffic be more manageable. It's getting people so they can have access to bathrooms and food as easily as possible. I'm not a big person that plays like Roller Coaster Tycoon or something, but I know a lot of people that play that. deal with the logistics of that too, and working on this in the real world and in the larger context of it there. I guess it shouldn't be as surprising that it's some of the same issues there too. So I'm optimistic that hopefully things get worked out there at the same time. But yeah, I mean, again, I think they put on a good show. I hope that they do come back. I think that both the Cup Series and the O'Reilly Series, which I'll get into here in a minute, I think they put on a really competitive race. I think that the drivers seemed happy with it. There were problems with the track too. I guess we can talk about that. There was a bit of that pothole on pit road, but NASCAR seemed to respond to that pretty well. I never really think about Chicagoland having a particularly aged surface, but if the shoe fits, that's definitely the case. You look at some of the footage there, the tar strips put out on the pavement, and all that being set up there too. That was definitely eye opening. We saw a bit of that at Pocono, and even more of that, here at this track there as well. But it's got some character, and that's kind of surprising, I guess. The longer you have these tracks out there, and the longer you keep from repaving them. I mean, heck, in that time, Kansas got repaved in 2012 or something. I guess Chicago's not yet had that. Correct me if I'm wrong here in the chat here, but I'm trying to remember if they've ever actually had a repave since their first Cup race in '01. But perhaps could explain some of those issues there too. But yeah, it's definitely another thing to look at the same time. On that same note, I'll kind of jump into this. It's kind of another diversion. I was touching on San Diego there as well with this. I read an interesting article earlier today about somebody having issues again with the accessibility to food and water, especially for medical reasons, and having issues where there were a lot of restrictions on tailgating, like you couldn't really tailgate in the parking lots. You couldn't go in and out of the venue to get food out of your car or something like that. And you're kind of depending on what venue, what facilities are available inside the track. And then to find that, yeah, you got very long lines. Not everybody's able to wait in long lines like that. Or having, some kind of service that maybe could be more fine tailored to that. Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if it's an inconvenience, but if it gets to another situation where, yeah, it's a legitimate even health concern or something like that, yeah, I mean, that's something else that NASCAR needs to work at. And so that was eye opening to me too. And I'm sure there's plenty of other reviews and things from that venue, and I'm sure we're going to hear plenty more from this weekend here too. In that same breath, but again, it was interesting to read there too. Again, I will admit that I think it was pretty positive for me, on my side there, but I know the media experience of it is certainly absolutely not the average fan experience of it, and I stay very mindful of that, and I'm not going to, you know, I certainly understand that the fan experience was very different. Certainly getting in there, I had friends that were part of the traffic jam trying to get in through the carrier lot, through the yellow gate there, coming in there, and I know that was a big challenge. And yeah, there was a lot of traffic, coming into the track, whatever way you were coming in. So that was definitely an issue. And I stood in one of those food lines myself. I mean, we had food provided to us in the media center as they always do, but if you miss your window for that, you kind of have to go into those fan lines too. I tried one of those, and I think I mentioned this on the show before. I got into one of those. I was probably standing in that line for, I don't know. It felt like at least half an hour or something, and I know it went for good time. And then back when I got up there, they were pretty much out of most of the food there. You were asking for like grabbing a soda or something. They said they had it, but they couldn't give them to you for some reason. And it was just bizarre. And that was just one of those venues. I don't know if the other vendors were having similar issues or not, but there was that. And then I think my issue, one thing that I really contributed in my report was, again, this was the first race that it was very difficult to see what was happening from ground level. And I know it's a street course race, perhaps that's inevitable, but if you weren't in the grandstands, you couldn't really see anything that was happening. And there were a lot of people that still set up chairs right next to the walls and were trying to watch what was happening, and they could just see a few roofs going by, and hopefully they were near one of the TV screens that they could see, and luckily they did have a number of those there. But I think what I was suggesting is like maybe a platform or something in some of those areas. Now that we know where they are, that, you could just raise people up a little bit. So if they're not in the stands, they can still get a pretty decent view and at least be able to see the cars as they go by. Something like that, I think, would be a good idea. I haven't seen what Last Bro's report was on that, but I know he had thoughts on his own from the fan perspective there too. So we'll see on that. But yeah, and again, I think from this weekend, I think a big part of it was, yeah, just the parking lots and getting in and out of the track there. I was surprised how rudimentary that was there. And yeah, and again, I really feel for the people that are dealing with the grassy lots. I know that Kansas, the sister track, we visited that a couple of years ago, and it's very interesting where that track is because it's kind of in the middle of a big mall. Like you have like a Costco and an IKEA and stuff that are right around it, and then the inner part where the track is, it's got grassy parking lots, much like Chicagoland does. And I can only imagine if there was a big storm that rolled through. We had a little bit of rain come through there before the Cup race, but only delayed things, I think, like 20 minutes or something. Nothing at all like what we saw in Chicagoland. And yeah, I don't know how typical, again, these storms are, but they're nothing to mess with. And that seemed to be, I was very shocked to see the strength of the wind and garbage cans getting pushed through the infield. I'm surprised more tents weren't blown over or destroyed like we saw back at Watkins Glen a little while ago. But yeah, kind of a crazy deal there. So if you're watching this and you're still stuck in traffic, we're definitely pulling for you guys out there, and I hope you still were able to enjoy the race there and get back safely there as well. So on that note, we'll get into the O'Reilly Series race. The next from last night, late last night, here on the 4th of July. Here was, again, kind of a logistical issue coming into this. I mean, obviously, you got a race that you're scheduling on the 4th of July weekend, the 250th anniversary of the nation. You got all these other celebrations everywhere, tall ships coming into New York. You got the celebrations over at Mount Rushmore. And everything else that's happening in between, and then you got you got the World Cup and everything, and now you got this race that's coming in, and then you get another one of these big storms, and the race gets pushed well past when it was going to be starting in mid-afternoon here on Pacific time or early evening back east, but pushing it well into the night. I know that when the race ended, I mean, gosh, what was it? I think it was, about 10 o'clock? It was after midnight on the East Coast. I know that Chicago's in a different time zone there. But kudos to NASCAR for still at least trying to get the race in. I think a doubleheader with the traffic logistics that were on hand was going to be a very, very tough go of it, because then you would have had to move things a lot earlier in terms of people getting in. And, if the traffic was as bad as it was in the afternoon, I don't know what it was like in the morning or, how many people were able to get in there on the earlier side or when the gates opened or anything. But that would have been a big issue there, too. I mean, obviously, the weather would have been fine. And I think they could have got both races in there. But, I think getting it in last night, even with the gathering fog or fireworks smoke or whatever was covering the track there at the same time, it's good that they still did that, so that, and again, not having to be more expensive for the O'Reilly teams as well, not having the teams having to stay there an extra day or anything like that. So I think, especially since the track already has lights, and it has history of night races, maybe not quite that late, that was good to do. I know that it's tricky when you have, people, celebrating a major holiday like that, especially this year with the momentous occasion of it there. I could see that I was kind of expecting maybe that they would push it back just because, again, 4th of July holidays, you got people having dinner, going to fireworks shows, parades, or whatever. And undoubtedly the track had its own celebrations on hand there as well. But heck, I think if nothing else, I kind of liked what Adam Alexander said during the broadcast, where maybe people were tuning back into the race after celebrating and were like, oh, they're showing a replay of the race and then realizing it's on live. Maybe that was something that was a pleasant surprise and perhaps consistent with NASCAR's history, handling a weather event and taking advantage of a window where maybe nobody's watching anything else at the time and jumping into it. Maybe that was the best result for them. So maybe that was kind of the deal there too. Yeah, spirit of the 2005 Pepsi 400, which also, I mean, it's good you mentioned that or more as well. Again, we could have very easily had the exact same problems at Daytona. I mean, one of the reasons, I know that there were a lot of people certainly earlier in the week that were posting clips from the 2007 Pepsi 400 or some of those other amazing races under the lights, which we're still going to get. I think we're still going to get some good racing there in August. I'm again not a big fan of the chase and regroupings and all that other stuff. But I do think that having, as long as we have some form of that, I think having Daytona be the end of the regular season is as good of a race as you're going to get for that. I think it's certainly better than Richmond was. I think it's better than, probably a lot of the other tracks would be, for that. But yeah, I get the nostalgia. I get the nostalgia for the 4th of July and some of those races, but let's not be too rose-tinted glasses about that, too. A lot of those races had very, very late rain delays, as R. Moore mentioned. 2005 Pepsi 400, I remember watching that with my uncle, came visiting over here, and we were watching it, and it was like 9 or 10 o'clock over here. So, of course, it's now at well after midnight back on the East Coast out there. And yeah, there were a lot of races where, rain would screw up qualifying. A lot of times you'd have a situation where, like a guy like Boris said, trying to get another pole at Daytona, he did one time in 2006, but I think in '07 it got washed out, and he was like one of the fastest cars, ends up getting sent home. So you'd undoubtedly have the same issues with rain. Of course, you have the one where the big rainstorm happened in the corner, and Austin Dillon squeaked through and pulled off the win. Plenty of other races that were just an absolute mess there too. And I'm sure if you looked even closer at the history of that race, going back to even the glory days, there were plenty of races that were a mess during that time, and weather being a factor there as well. Again, maybe somewhere down the line, if we go back to a regular season points, maybe we can revisit that again. I personally would like to go back to having the race be at like 10 o'clock in the morning. And I don't mind what, on the behalf of the West Coast viewers, I would watch, the race at 7 in the morning over here with a 3-hour time difference, and then have the rest of the day open, on the 4th of July. I think that's fine. I think the day races at Daytona have always been way more entertaining than night races. The night races look spectacular, and I know the Daytona 500 itself has pushed itself into becoming a night race by starting later and later in the day. But the daytime ones, I think, are really exciting because you see the handling be a factor much more, and the way well, just the views of it too. I mean, to me, Daytona is like a sunny, Florida, weather deal. You want to see that big, that Bill France senior weather. You want to see the clear blue skies, the beautiful paint schemes, and all that. I know there's a lot that's done with the lights and everything, and there's even more that's being done with that this year. But that's just the way I've kind of felt on that. But even then, like right now, I mean, I feel like we probably would have. I don't know what the weather was like this weekend in Daytona, but it could have just as easily been a very similar situation to what we had in Chicagoland here with that. So I'm not as much of the person beating the drum here about going back to Daytona and having it in July or anything like that. It'd be nice, maybe, but I think that this was fine. I think that Road America was fine. I think it Road America without stage cautions and with much more logical in-race cautions where they don't throw cautions for every little thing would be a perfectly wonderful venue. And having like, a picnic atmosphere, plenty of places for people to sit and stuff like that. I would have no problem with that either. I thought that was fine. I thought people came down way too hard on that. As they had with the lack of stage cautions at Watkins Glen and the Indy Road Course. I thought those races were fine. I don't know what people were so upset about with those, but you hear of these broadcasts these days, and they just kind of look at that like, oh, that was the dark times. Those weren't very good. Even when it was Tyler Reddick's first win or something. But I don't know. There's other things that could be kind of revisited here down the line too. But again, going back to the O'Reilly Series race, Brandon Jones, congratulations to him on winning another surprise. Every time he wins, it always seems like such a huge surprise. And he wins at very demanding tracks here too. I mean, winning at Phoenix, winning here, winning at Darlington. And this one here was such an aggressive race. And again, even being a night race, I guess and again, with the fog coming in there, it just seemed like there was so much grip, and these cars were tuned so well that they put on just one hell of a race out there. I was amazed at how aggressive they were moving. I was watching another race for another project I'm working on, that also happened to be a night race from years ago. And it was kind of interesting comparing that to this, because in this one here, the blocks, the maneuvering was so much more precise, and everything seemed like the cars were almost too fast for the track here in the Chicagoland race. And I found it very, very enjoyable. Unfortunately, we had some bad luck here for some of the drivers that we usually talk about here a lot on the show. Ryan Sieg with the blown tire and destroying the right front fender on his car. Other drivers falling out of contention there as well. Jeremy Clements with the loose left rear wheel there too. But again, I thought it was an exhilarating race, and again, Chase Elliott didn't need to be there. I'm still not a fan of Cup guys in lower divisions. I still maintain that here too. But I'm sure Brandon Jones is a feather in his hat there for beating Chase toe to toe there at the front of the field there and putting on a good show. I think we would have had that show whether Chase was in that race or not, or if they just kept Raja Caruth in that car there. But again, one way or the other, I thought that was quite well done. Connor Zilic has probably the most frustrating 10th place finish that you'll probably ever see for leading the race, having the car lose fuel pressure, spinning out, a blown tire, everything else in between. He clawed his way back up there to finish in the 10th spot there. So a fine recovery for him, especially for how disastrous tonight's race went for him there. But I thought he showed a lot of heart out there at the same time, and just shows, again, how well he had performed last season and should have been the champion, under any other more legitimate point system that would have been in place at the time there. But yeah, he was very impressive out there. Nick Sanchez was solid. I still don't understand why the Peterson team can't enter a second car for Sanchez and keep Austin Green out there. I think Austin's still closing the gap on the ovals. You saw in that interview I did with him at San Diego how much he was affected by not being able to be in that car and having to now share that ride here for at least the foreseeable next few weeks. And of course, the Green family is no stranger to oval track racing. I know Austin last week. And again, I hope that he gets more opportunities there too, because, he's a big reason why that Peterson team is even in the position to run full-time in the series now. It was a lot of those great runs that he was getting. Now, again, Nick Sanchez is a great talent too. Picking him up for Atlanta, I think, is an easy choice, given the fact that Sanchez almost won the spring race at Atlanta in the AM racing car. And now with that team completely shut down and him out there, I think you give him a wheelbarrow and he'll probably have a good run out there. But yeah, I think a two-car effort out there, which they have done before. They have done multiple cars of the Peterson team in their short existence. That would have been a better way to handle that too. But again, Brandon Jones, your winner over Chase Elliott. Jesse Love in third. Brent Cruz with another strong run in the fourth spot. Austin Hill in fifth. Again, one to watch next week. Justin Allgaier comes back from his frustrations at Sears Point to finish in the sixth spot. Taylor Gray, much the same there after getting beat toe-to-toe with Austin Hill in San Diego and then running out of gas and going into turn 12 last week, gets the seventh place finish. Sam Mayer, Cole Custer, and Connor Zilic rounding out your top 10. Meanwhile, at the back of the field, a little bit of intrigue here as well. If you've seen the article that I already posted there late last night, the finally the arrival of the Team Stange effort, which again, starting with a Chicago businessman looking to get into the Cup Series back in 2022 with Tarso Marks driving the number 79 car. There's going to be sponsored by a cryptocurrency and running some races back then. Ultimately, that didn't happen. They tried to get in the Truck Series, tried to get in the O'Reilly Series, tried to get in there. And then we just stopped hearing anything about this program as they were competing in Brazil, even sponsored an IndyCar effort there in 2019, and really trying to kind of understand. I would have loved to be there to be able to interview anybody else from the team there, as to what on earth was going on and what their path has been to get there. But then they land at all places of Mike Harmon's team, keep Dawson Cram on board, bring all these different partners there, including another cryptocurrency through a rare earth mineral deal. And a very interesting post was posted late yesterday before the O'Reilly race there that apparently there is a insurance program that NASCAR has that insures NASCAR, the drivers, and the teams for any cryptocurrency that's sponsored out there. Now, I'm sure I don't know the exact reason that they are listing, but anybody listening about cryptocurrency out there in the market and hearing about all these rug pulls and shit coins and things like that out there, um, undoubtedly there's that element of risk out there, and it's kind of interesting to go from the Winston Cup and Surgeon General's warning and stuff on tobacco products to, okay, here's a product that's too risky here, and if we're gonna let you sponsor, let you represent the sponsor out there, we're gonna need like you to sign up for this insurance program. That was very interesting, and according to the team, they were only given about 2 days notice. And either, I don't know if it was an issue of getting funds for the insurance they couldn't get, or completing the forms that they needed to complete and when they needed to register that. For whatever reason, they couldn't get that out there. So while the team was still wearing logos, uniform shirts that had the cryptocurrency on it, the car did not. And they had to take those logos off. Luckily, they had some other associate sponsors from there's a company that was, I think it was called Slab Hard. That was a company that handled floor coverings, and there was a paint company as well. I don't see why they didn't just stick with those sponsors anyway. I just have those be the primary sponsors, but they ended up kind of taking over. And then once you know, they start the race, and 30 laps into the race, they have engine issues. They sit on pit road for a few laps, go to the garage area, and unfortunately their night was over. So the team didn't really get on camera there during the evening anyway. So kind of an eventful day, on top of the fact that it's the second straight time for Dawson Cram that he's finished last in the first race with a new partnership. You remember back to Texas earlier this year, back in May, that was the first race where Dawson was actually partnered with, or Mike Harmon's team rather, was partnered with Joey Gase's effort and the number 35 car out there. And actually since that time, which was very interesting, the Gase team had 4 DNQs on the number 35 car in the first part of the year. Harmon's team had 3 DNQs in the first 11 races of the year, but in the time since then, they haven't missed any races and got the 35 car in there each week, and that's been really good to see. Especially seeing Mike Harmon's team run on the road courses, which they usually don't do. They were at Watkins Glen. They brought out Devin Jones's old car. They come back out here to the West Coast, which they also never do. Mike Harmon out here to run both San Diego and Sears Point. Obviously, I'm sure San Diego was very big on Harmon's list, given the fact that they've done a lot of veterans initiatives and other military programs that they promoted. The Safe 22 Foundation being among the many backers that sponsored Harmon's cars over the years. Yeah, you have that. And now you had this other one with Team Stange here this week. I'll be interested to see if they go back to working with Joey Gase again next week for the Atlanta race there as well. But we'll find out. I think it's going to be interesting to see what direction all that goes as well, especially what size entry list we're going to have for that race. So we've seen, Harmon enter his own car in that race. We've seen Joey Gase's team, of course, enter its own cars. I think it'll be interesting when we get the entry list posted here the next couple of days where the story will be. And, of course, I'll be covering that in the entry list storylines article this coming Friday here, so stay tuned for that at the same time. Very happy with where this microphone is set up. I finally found a way where I can do my hand gestures, and I don't keep flicking this thing all the time with my hands. So I think I'm going to try to remember this for next week and try to kind of stick with that. I'm actually pretty happy with this so far. So hopefully it sounds good. I'm going to listen to this after the show tonight, and I think we're going to be in position on that. So again, Dawson Cram, your last place finisher. Second one this year, actually got the first again with the Joey Gase combined effort at Texas. J.J. Yaley next to last in his 401st series start, running double duty with this weekend. He drove for Jonathan Cohen earlier tonight. Actually, according to a post I saw just before this, I think it was Joseph Strigley's page, first time that Yaley has led multiple laps in consecutive cup starts in his career, which is interesting. I know that it's been a while since Michigan, since his most recent start, but still consecutive starts for him in this part-time effort. So congratulations to JJ on that. Unfortunately, power steering issues there on the RSS team, which entered the only Ford in the field. This time again with limited sponsorship. Shout out to Colby Evans out there at Start and Park Car that was helping out the 38 team this weekend, and appreciate the pictures he was able to take of the car and kind of follow what was happening there during the weekend. But again, an early exit there after 55 laps, and ultimately the only 2 DNFs in the race there too. So kind of an interesting story for the both of them there. So definitely check out the article on that. A little bit different coverage for that one with the race being pushed as late as it was. We planned to kind of watch a movie here at the time. We were watching Speed actually last night, the '94 classic there, and checking that out there. Then watch the race there afterwards and caught up on that. And then watch the hot dog eating contest, of course, because this is a Joey Chestnut household here for sure. Lastbro, of course, met him in person back in 2014. We did the Sears Point coverage that year. So that was a big part of that too. Other drivers throughout the field here. Viking Motorsports looked very strong again. I know Chris Rice was on one of the podcasts this week and was smiling very big about the fact that a lot of his former cars from the colleague effort before they shut down their O'Reilly program, or at least suspended it, are now over at the Viking Motorsports team, and we've seen that significant uptick in the performance of both those cars. I think at this point, Anthony Alfredo is doing so well. I think he's doing just as well now as Parker Retzlaff is. We saw Retzlaff have so much more of a standout performance earlier this year, very reminiscent of what we saw out of his first few starts with RSS racing. But after missing the Daytona race and driving an Alpha Prime car, Anthony Alfredo is caught up big time, and I think he's been really, really fun to watch too. Both of them getting top fives at Sears Point last week after qualifying in the top five. Wonderful job for him. Happy for both of them. I love to see them, break one of them break through or both of them. We'll find out. We got a whole other half of the year to go, and anything can happen there too. And Retzlaff was second in the Atlanta race to Sheldon Creed in the spring, if I remember correctly. So I think that'll be one to watch there next week too, and we'll see how it all shakes out. Josh Bilicki and SS Greenlight Racing posted a picture earlier today showing they had a significant tire failure there on the 07 car there that forced them on the pit road at the end of stage one, lost a few laps, ends up back in the 36th spot. Jeremy Clements with a loose wheel there again in the 35th, and Joey Gase running out your bottom five. This time around, after the 55 car was not able to start the race at Sears Point due to some missing parts, kind of want to circle back to this again because I don't know if I hit this enough last week. My heart breaks for Brad Perez there on that last week. I don't know what exactly the failure was, if somebody just forgot to pack something or if they used up all the equipment they had on hand to get through San Diego. They didn't have anything left for Sears Point. Given how excited Brad was after San Diego, especially about the Baker Family Wine sponsorship and running the 55 car, he almost told me what the sponsorship was during that interview. If you see it there on the video, he was extremely excited about that and really felt that he could actually push the car and have a good run out there. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen, and they had mechanical issues. They couldn't fix it. Backup engine didn't have the parts, and of course, everybody on the team was frustrated. Joey Gase couldn't be, I couldn't reach him for comment. Brad declined to be interviewed for that as well, and I certainly understand that. I mean, it's part of what makes covering the back of the field here so brutal is that again you get to know these drivers, you're pulling for them, and you're hoping they have some good runs, but for some of these teams. Unfortunately, days like that where something goes wrong or end up being a bit more common. It's not a failing of the drivers or the teams or anything. They just find themselves in those situations, and they try to kind of work their way out of it. And we see this today with Connor Zilic. You got a team that's an excellent team, excellent sponsor, excellent driver, and has terrible luck. And sure enough, I mean, pending the results of inspection, we'll see if we got more news from that there too. Yeah, I mean, could very easily, be a fourth last place finish for this year. So, as I say on here, last place finish may not necessarily be an indicator of, again, a driver's talent or anything. But, again, it's a story and, no two of them are the same, and then that's just kind of the way it plays out. And I think you learn about a lot of the heart that these drivers have and the teams that put forward these efforts. At the same time there. So I'm sure, Brad's got a great head on his shoulders there. He's very good at finding sponsorships and working out deals there. And he's certainly a hard worker with these different teams. I'm sure he'll find another effort there going forward. But and then this will be something that will be in the past there for him. But definitely was something, to feature there on the show. I don't know if I mentioned this on last week there, but I actually got to talk with somebody from PRN who thanked me for posting pictures there and following what was happening with the 55. And they're trying to get out on pit road. Yeah, again, that's I always kind of interested in trying to find out, what's happening, and when there's a car that's missing from the grid or something like that. That's definitely something you don't really see every week, and it doesn't really get any attention. I didn't even see it mentioned on the broadcast. They showed his 55 car in the lineup there on the graphic, but I don't think really. I didn't see the pre-race. Maybe got featured more there, but at least in the main broadcast, it was on NASCAR's YouTube page. I didn't see that, so I thought that was interesting there at the same time. But yeah, again, great runs for a lot of these other drivers there in the field, but definitely a very challenging race there last night. We saw William Sawalich involved in an incident there at Chicagoland. Dr. Patrick Starapoli involved in another incident there. LeVar Scott got some damage there in one of those. Kyle Sieg has just had a really frustrating stretch there in the 28. I really feel for him there because I know that he's a very competitive individual. He doesn't take anything short of victory. He's just not happy with it. And I've seen that definitely firsthand from some of these other races here that he's run for the RSS team. They've been trying to get some more sponsorship on that car. They ran an unsponsored car virtually, despite outside of the Duval Sports Card Company there on the 28 there. But still trying to get the best runs they can. Hopefully next week, which is a home race, of course, for RSS Racing based out in Tucker, Georgia, they can turn around and hopefully one of the two brothers there can get the first win of a family member in the RSS team. Of course, Eric Almirola scoring the first win for the team there in that partnership with Stewart Haas Racing a few years ago. But we'll see where things shake out. Of course, they were in the last two positions after getting involved in an incident not of their making. That was one of Corey Day's early season foibles this year. It shows how much has changed this year already in these few months here since February. Certainly looking for a better outcome this time around. They didn't really get a chance to show what they could do, but hopefully they can do something more this next week in Atlanta. So again, solid race. I thought it was a very enjoyable race to watch. As I mentioned, the different grooves and the competition out there, and again, I think again the Cup cars. I was surprised they were as competitive as they were. I was worried we were going to get something more where the field was going to be really spread out with a bit of a well, not really a smaller field, about the same size field, but just different handling cars. It seemed like a very racy track out there, and I'm glad to see that that's still out there. And I hope that we get the chance to see more of that. I know there's been discussions at the same time about the Chicagoland track staying on the schedule with the Chicago Street Course. I don't know if that's necessary. I would kind of probably lean towards putting more money into fixing a lot of the issues at Chicagoland this year. Again, with the camping areas, with the shuttles, with other accommodations out there. I think that would probably be a wiser investment here, especially if they're still looking at San Diego and other tracks from there. I know, again, the article I read earlier today was very down on them running San Diego again. I think with some changes, I think they can make that a little bit. I think with a really, really good shuttle service, like a Disneyland level shuttle service where you can get on a big, Kansas had one like this, where they had the big carts that were pulled around and, they'd have like those around there. A truck would tow those around. Talladega, same thing. Something like that in place would be fantastic. And then you could actually get around the course. I would have loved to see more of the track. When I was doing that week there, I just felt like I felt like I was doing a lot. I was doing a lot of the interviews and I was enjoying myself and I was doing the stuff in the garage. But much like most sport, I felt like I was seeing so little of what was actually happening on the track there. I was having to just rely on the TV screen so much more. And I don't know if a lot of fans' experiences were something similar to that there, but that was definitely the way it felt to me. Um, again, every time I go to one of these races in person, it always feels like it's ending. It's ending quicker than I expect it to be, and I'm kind of trying to grab stuff out of the air and get it while you can, and then it's like, oh, I missed that one, and oh, I missed that one, and let me get this one. It's like, okay, I got that one. Oh, but I missed that one. It's so frustrating with that, but that's why you have multiple people out there to cover it. That's why you have, hopefully in the aggregate, everybody's going to get most of what happened, and the other stuff's not going to be lost to history. So, Yeah, and I take that very seriously. I think that that's a big part of this. The last place finisher may not be the most important thing out there, but I do think it's interesting. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't think this was interesting. I think that whenever I did the starting grid videos, I was always more interested in talking about what was happening at the back of the field than the front of the field. I didn't really care to talk about, I mean, okay, I liked doing Carl Edwards' nickname and everything, and talk about who was on the pole and everything, but the fun part I always had was we get to the later rows and started talking about, okay, what's front row doing this week? Are they entering an extra car? Or are they not? Is there a new team that's on the circuit? What's TJ Bell doing? Things like that. Jimmy Means coming back into the sport. That was the fun part. And that's what I've always loved with the Last Car page is it's been a great framework to discuss those. And again, just talking about it tonight with this effort there with Mike Harmon's team and this team stage effort and how that's been years in development. And now here they are. I mean, okay, they didn't have the best of outcomes, but maybe something down the line, they start their own team, they finally get a foothold in the sport, and they grow something. Maybe in a couple of years we'll be talking about that more on the show here. Or maybe it's something we never hear about again, and we'll just have that one weird moment where it's like, hey, do you remember when this happened? Either way, you just don't know, but you don't know until you try it. And I think that's a fun part of it there too. But yeah, I don't think um, yeah, I'm not as wedded to the Chicago street course. I think the street course thing, especially after San Diego now, I think that we've now seen that, yeah, NASCAR can set up something similar wherever they really want to, as long as they're able to get the logistics worked out and however expensive that is. I know there's a lot, working with local politicians and the military, certainly in this case, trying to work that out. I think that they can put on a decent show, but I think they need to hopefully consolidate their notebook because again, yeah, we've been to a couple of these. We saw the problems at the San Diego track, which were kind of similar to some of the problems at the LA Clash in the Coliseum there. And again, hearing some similar things from Chicago this week, although again, I think the weather really accentuated the issues for Chicagoland this weekend. Whereas I think if the weather were a bit calmer, I know it's a big ask in July, where of course, it's going to be hot everywhere. It seems like pretty much everywhere this weekend, it was either roastingly hot or it was just big storms, monsoons rolling through. I know IndyCar had to deal with something similar mid Ohio this week. So yeah, again, it's hard to figure out, but I think that'll be another thing to look at going forward there too. Let me look at my notes here at the same time, and we'll get into our the both the trivia portion and the giveaway for the magnet here as well for those in the Patreon. So we'll jump into that. I want to kind of tick off some other notes. Yes. Okay, good. This one right off the bat here. I want to give a shout out to Roger Langford, who is actually one of the people that I spoke to in interviewing for the J.D. McDuffie book. I didn't do a formal interview with him, but he was very supportive of the project out there. As it happens, he's actually been he served again a role there on J.D. McDuffie's team many years ago. And now is actually a semi driver for Joe Gibbs Racing. And just this week, he swapped into Brandon Jones's team for this weekend for the trip to Chicago. And there were some great pictures that were posted on his page of him celebrating with Brandon Jones on the win. Brandon saying that, hey, you just came on this weekend and we won. You probably are a good luck charm here this weekend. So congratulations to Roger there. And again, the folks over at the Joe Gibbs team on, again, a race well driven and a very, I know another crew member there that very much enjoyed being part of the celebration. Again, on the 4th of July, how tremendous is that there as well. Also this weekend, we had the NASCAR event at Le Mans with the historic cars out there, Kurt Busch and Joe Nemechek among the Cup Series veterans taking part in that event. Looked like that was a tremendous success. I just watched a little bit of that. Unfortunately, a Derek Cope car and a Dave Marcus car got tore up in a little bit of a fracas there, and one of the chicanes there going onto one part of the track there. So hopefully the dings get pulled out on that. I know that Benjamin Crow that I spoke to at San Diego that was wearing that straight arrow mane and tail shirt there was disappointed that car got beat up there in that race there too. But yeah, again, wonderful to see those old cars get shaken out there and running some more laps out there. Very reminiscent of that very successful event I think that they had in Japan last year over the off season, and seeing that as well. So hopefully we get more elements of that too. I also want to say that in the last couple of weeks here, I've watched both the broadcasts to the San Diego Cup race and the Sears Point Cup race there too. Both of them I thought were very enjoyable watches. I'll start with TNT since they're on board here with this right now. I thought they put on a very solid show. I think the camera work was really good. I thought the sound design was okay, not as good as Amazon Prime's is. But I thought I really liked the camera work they did on the Sears Point track, and really kind of made you feel like kind of thrown into the action. I know there were a lot of people that were saying, especially after San Diego and all the hype around that event, that seemed very negative about that race and saying, oh, it was boring and Van Gisbergen just dominated. No, there was a lot that was going on in there. And, maybe not all of it was caught. I know there were some other incidents like Noah Gragson and Cody Ware were trading bumps out there, and I was just getting a discussion on that on social media earlier today. But the battle there at the end, and Briscoe trying to reel in Van Gisbergen, that was building for a long time, and it was very reminiscent to me of the 2012 race there and that great battle with Clint Boyer and Kurt Busch going for the lead, and then Tony Stewart throwing himself into the mix there too. And that race started with an 85 lap green flag run. This one had a 47 lap green flag run at the very end of it there. And then just seeing the drivers just push themselves to exhaustion. And on top of this, you had Zilich having a great run, finally getting his first top 10. Christopher Bell getting a top 5 with the cast on his arm. I thought it had a wonderful amount of storylines there too. So that was an issue with that. And also to stem from this, let me put this phone over here so I'm not juggling that in my hands here too. I also want to address this because this came up a little bit on social media from both races there. I posted the clip there with me attempting to interview Shane Van Gisbergen after what was undeniably just a crushing accident there, battling for the lead that took him out of the race. And of course, he declined the interview. And again, very politely, no issues there at all. And then the Austin Hill thing there at Sears Point, where I was attempting to speak with Austin because I was curious why he dropped out of the top 10. Turned out he was just having a different pit strategy, ran out of fuel, and had to come in. So that story got answered there. But I was attempting to get an interview with Austin Hill. He was walking with his PR representative, and I asked the PR representative if I could speak with him. She said no, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And that was the end of it. I posted messages on both just saying that that attempt was made. And some people were extrapolating from it and saying like, oh, it's like, they should have talked to you. They should have done this. They should have. Look, yeah, they don't owe me anything on that. I mean, I had zero problem with both cases. I had no problem with it here. I know this is pretty much cooled down, but I just want to make sure nobody's giving them any crap about that. If there's a situation where I personally take offense with it and I think that it was out of order or something like that, I'll say it because I don't have a big platform, but I'll have it out there. You'll know from me if it's something where I think it was inappropriate or something like that. I'll certainly be mentioning that. But otherwise, if it's something like that where it says, hey, they're just declining an interview. Again, Ben, my staff writer, had the exact same situation trying to catch Haley Deegan after the ARCA West race. And she declined the interview. And that was fine. And he handled it the same way I did. And I completely agree with what his response on that. And again, there's no issue there. If they just have somebody that's just declining an interview, that's all it is. And I think I talked about this on last week's show, but I was falling asleep when I was saying it. So in case that wasn't clear, I just want to make sure I make that clear this week. So there was zero issue with that. I just posted the Van Gisbergen clip because I thought it was funny. That too. And again, just because I had it. I mean, I had the clip. I'm going to go ahead and put it up. But I'm not going to put it in there. It's like, oh, can you believe he wouldn't talk to me? No, look, I know who I am. I know what I do here on the site. It's not an earth-shattering thing. And if it is something that's really inappropriate, I'll tell you guys. I will be very frank about that. But unless I'm saying it that way, you don't have to feel that way there about it too. Because again, it's, you got these drivers, they're competitive individuals, they're under a tremendous amount of stress. Maybe something, really stupid happens that gets them taken out of a race. They drive their beat up car coming in the garage. They're getting out. They're just thinking, okay, I'm going to change out of this. I'm going to wear some comfortable clothes. I'm going to get something to drink. And then you see me coming up there with my microphone, shoving it in their face. What do you think is going to happen? And look, I had my previous job before the one I have now. I used to ask for, $100 co-pays or whatever from, when I was working as a registration clerk in the emergency room in an inner city hospital on night shift. So, a driver that is not happy and doesn't want to talk to me or something like that, that's not going to destroy me. Okay. I've been through way more than that. I can absolutely assure you. So I'm very happy that when I go in the garage area, I don't have to ask any of these drivers for co-pays. So at least I don't have to do that. So doing these interviews here, if they decline the interview, that comes to the territory, and it happens to anybody. And I know not everybody has that experience, and maybe they would take it a different way. And I understand that, and you're not wrong for feeling that way. But as to me, in that case, in those cases like that, it's really not a big deal. It comes with the territory. Again, I've had some drivers come back to me, like Tommy Joe Martins came up to me once and apologized for, being upset after wrecking at Watkins Glen when I interviewed him back in 2018. I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. Look, I'm just glad you're okay, because I mean, he had a throttle hang or something going into turn 10 and had a pretty freaky accident. And just glad he was all right. Trying to get the story of what happened there with that race there. But again, it's no problem. I don't expect people that are falling out of a race to be happy about it. They're competitors. They want to have the best race out there, and if things don't happen, things don't happen, and that's just part of it. But again, no problems. Again, the Van Gisbergen one, the Austin Hill ones included, no issues at all with those. I'm just reporting, hey, I tried to get a quote, didn't get one, and that's end of story. So, kind of belaboring that, but I just want to make that, clear on that there as well. Yeah. So again, let's see. I think that's mostly what I wanted to talk about this. How far? Oh gosh, we're already past an hour. I wasn't sure about how the pacing of this would go. It feels so different being back here at LASCAR headquarters after the last couple of shows. San Diego, I felt like I had a good amount of energy, but I feel like I just scratched the surface on what was happening there. And at Sears Point, I thought I had enough energy. I felt pretty good, getting everything set up. And then by the time I sat in that chair, I just kind of started to do this, and I started slumping out. And I'm like, okay, I got all this stuff set up. Let me at least try to do a show. So if I was a little incoherent in that one, again, I do apologize, but it comes to the territory. And yeah, but I was very happy to do these races last couple of weeks. Again, can't confirm yet what the next race is going to be. We're looking at Las Vegas. Can't confirm that one yet. But whenever it is, we're going to do a lot of that coming up. And part of that is going to be the magnet giveaway, which I'll be coming up with this here too. Let me see. What are the other notes? I don't think that one's as important right now. I might save that. Let's see what I got here. Let's see. Yeah, I'll kind of leave that there. Oh, I touched on this at the very beginning of the show here too. Again, I know it was a bit different there on the channel, but yeah, I really enjoyed doing the video there on reading the Declaration of Independence. We watched Young Washington on Friday. We saw Revolutionary America a couple weeks ago there. And I really, excited about all the build up here to this weekend, and trying to kind of just enjoy, especially from somebody that, really enjoys history and always has. I really was enjoying kind of all the build up to that. And I wanted to kind of mark the occasion. I thought about doing another video on it, but I already have all these other videos that I'm just trying to just push across the finish line. So I was like, okay, what's something quick I can do, but also something that would, I think, be appropriate to the occasion. And yeah, I just figured I'd test the waters a little bit in narrating something that's a bit different from what I've done on the channel, kind of like what I did on the Quebec New York thing a couple of years ago. Yeah, decided to work on that, and I recorded that late on Friday night, I believe, and then got that up there. I think it was late Thursday night. Either way, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that there, throwing a little bit of history into it. It was interesting reading that. especially given, seeing these other, films and watching some documentaries and everything too, I couldn't help but think, um, at the same time, it kind of reminded me of all these messages I'm hearing from people that are visiting the World Cup this week, and this month, and are seeing all these videos. I'm sure some of these are probably not as maybe some of these are just engagement bait or something like that. But I think there's so many of them that I don't think it's all that. I think that there's a significant portion of them that are legit, where you got people that are coming from overseas and they're just amazed at just things here in this country, whether it's something as simple as having crushed ice with your Dr. Pepper, or visiting Costco, or having brisket, or visiting these different locations, just how friendly people are. I'm glad to hear that. I think from a PR standpoint, here in this country, I mean, every country's got its problems. You got things going on and everything like that, and but it's wonderful to hear people enjoying themselves. I mean, it's great. I'm glad. Soccer is not my sport. I don't follow the World Cup very closely. But I'm glad to see people. I also am very much a fan of seeing people have a good time, and enjoying themselves out there. And undoubtedly, yeah, there's been so much pomp and circumstance. I mean, gosh, we were having dinner with Ben during Sears Point, and we had all the TVs in the restaurant there. We're all playing the games there too. Undoubtedly, it's a big deal, and it's wonderful that we've had it this year, and to have it at the same time as the 250th anniversary of the country, and everything on there. I know we have an international cadre of viewers here as well, so again, appreciate you guys here tuning in there as well. But yeah, it's great to have, it's great to have that kind of enjoyment there, at the same time, and that was something that was kind of rattling in my mind as I was kind of reading this at the same time, and I'm glad that there has been this discourse here. The people that wrote the Constitution, when they were writing their lists of grievances, really, with the King of England, and what they felt needed, why independence was so necessary for them, that they couldn't function, that their towns were being sacked, that they were being sent overseas to be seen in for court appearances, and just any number of other things that were dealt with. That took a lot of guts. The people that did that, if it didn't work out, they were going to be tried for for treason, or whatever the English equivalent would have been. It was. I know that there are certain historical events that, especially in this country, get brought up to such an extent where people can kind of just generally agree. It's like, well, okay, we don't have to talk about it. We know it's important or anything like that. But if you really think about it, it is eye opening, and it's interesting to see, again, where things have led from it. You see what elements from there were the kind of the inception of the American identity, and yeah, having it at this time where that is being again being celebrated there, both literally through the celebrations, and again New York and every place else. Yeah, that's great to see, and I like, again, the World Cup being kind of part of that there too, so others are able to experience that. Again, I think that's good. You know, I bring this up because, again, we hear so much on the. I mean, again, if you really think about it, people visiting from overseas, a lot of reason that they were so surprised about America, and what it was like over here, is because their media was telling them, it's like, oh, it's terrible, it's a nation on decline, it's this, it's that, it's gonna be terrible, it's violent, it's all that other stuff, and then they come over here and they have a great time. Again, we, it could be very well the same situation over here. I always feel that we're much closer, in understanding the American identity, and much more in agreement on things that maybe it seems, or at least the media makes it feel like. And I say that as a media member myself. And again, I don't want to go too far down this road here at the same time, but I think, times like this where you see that response, and certainly, on a holiday like this here as well, it's a good time to remember, that yeah, that the American identity is very much, something that people generally ascribe to, and that is something that is very unique at the same time. It is watching a NASCAR race. It's watching the hot dog eating contest. It's watching tall ships in New York and all that other stuff. It's seeing and seeing other countries participate. I don't mean to exclude other countries from this as well, because I know a lot of them are celebrating. We've seen celebrations in Japan, seeing celebrations in other countries as well, bringing their air forces over here. We saw the Royal Air Force or the French Air Force participating in it, which is especially interesting given the history back in colonial America too. That's good to see. So I know that it's very much in vogue to be very outspoken about what's wrong with America, and if you don't like this candidate or that candidate or things like that. But but I don't feel like it's everything's just crumbling around our ears or anything like that. I'm left with, especially from this weekend, feeling very positive about things like that out there. And again, not saying everything's perfect either, but yeah, again, I think it's really cool to see, and I hope that that's something that's going to move the needle positively here. And again, the World Cup's a big part of it. It's not just organically the 250th celebrations that have been planned and what's been taking place there. But yeah, and again, the San Diego race was very much a part of that too. But yeah, the World Cup response has been so intriguing to me, and I've really enjoyed seeing those videos from people over here. I think part of it is also kind of reminds me of Lastboro and myself when we travel to other parts of this country and doing these races and stuff like that. And maybe we're not familiar with the way things are in other places, but learning about that, I think that's a good part of that too. So, um, yeah, so kind of different ways to kind of look at that too. But yeah, we'll see where things go from there. So let me see on this. Yeah, I think that's mostly what I had on the notes here too. Okay, and I want to get into, yes, I want to get into this segment here. So I'm going to do that coming up here. Before I go into that, I'm going to set up for the giveaway for the magnet and the cards here. That's going to require something. So I'm going to take a break here in just a moment. Before I do, a little bit of housekeeping I want to mention. I did receive, when we went to San Diego, I received a notice, and I tweeted about this as well, expressing some concern about the captions on some of my videos. And I know I have a number of people that are hearing impaired or have other issues with the videos. I've kind of worked with just the transcription service that YouTube has on there. But from what I've seen and reviewing it on the videos that I was attended to, yeah, the transcription's not very good. So I am in the process of working on that. I started with After Allen because that one in particular, needed some polishing there. And that's still something I'm going to be working on too. So I know I've had some, if you're here in the chat as well, and you're checking this out, hopefully the transcription to this is clear enough here. That is something that's being worked on here too. I don't have a finished date on that. It's going to take some time, especially for these longer videos. But of course, I have the older scripts for the videos that I'm in the process of working on, getting that going. So I am aware of that. I appreciate being made aware of that. I'm the kind of person where if I don't hear a concern about something on a video, I'm just going to conclude that it isn't an issue. So I appreciate it being brought to my attention, and it is something that's being worked on here too. So hopefully the experience will be much better for watching other videos on this channel. And so that's another thing that's getting worked on. So in the meantime, I am going to set up something here. I need to set up another thing, program on here, and we're going to do something a little bit different. And we're going to get ready to do the giveaways for the magnet. So if you are a member of the Patreon, there are 84 eligible members of the Patreon that are going to be, 6 of which are going to win a prize from this segment here in a little bit. So some of you may be Patreon members, some of you may not. Patreon.com/LastCarOnBrock. We'll have a bit more information on that on the other side of this. So again, I'm going to set this up and then I'll be back in just a moment. So stay tuned, folks, and we'll jump into that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, how about some marble racing? Maybe we could do something a little bit different. Now, see, this has been a very challenging week here for yours truly because I have had to kind of figure out things this week. So I had to figure out the caption thing for the issue there on YouTube, and I think I've got some progress there. But the other part here is to the this Marbles on Stream program. Now I am no gamer at all here, and in fact, let me see if I can I get this back on screen where I can. There we go. Could maybe get the full thing on screen. Let's see, can I get my screen on here too? Maybe that would be good. But my point bringing this up here is in the past, for those of you who are, again, Patreon members here, or if you just see my feed here in general, what I've done up to this point here is whenever I have the new door magnet for each of my trips, what I do is I collect a number of hero cards from there. So I got like a first, second, and third place prize. And in the past, I basically just drew names out of a hat. I've had like some trading cards and stuff. I put everybody's name on it there. And this time around, I saw some other channels that were using this program, and I'm like, I gotta find out where this program is. So I think that I finally found a way. I was playing around with this the last couple of days, and basically what we're gonna do and I think this would be kind of fun here for streams. If you're not a member of the Patreon on here, we're still going to have a audience for this section here as well. But yeah, I'm going to try to do a little bit of a play-by-play of this marble race, and this one here is going to be for San Diego. So what it's going to be is there's going to be three winners. I'd love to have this where I can do the last place finisher of the marble race. I think that would be probably more appropriate, but we're going to do the race winner. So whoever wins this race here on there is going to be the winner of the magnet. Second place and third place prize are going to get a bundle of hero cards there. There's also going to be some hero cards at the first place prize. So I have that set up here. So this would be kind of a fun way to do it there. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do two races here tonight. Each one is going to be 5 laps. I have a function on here I found where I can hit like 1 through 3 and I can kind of determine where everybody's running, at least the leaders here. And then whoever the top 3 finishers are, they're going to be the winners here. So I do have a number of viewers here on this. So again, just kind of get the eligibility list here on as well. So these are going to be members who were already active members of the Patreon when we did the trip, including the people who signed on during either of those trips there as well. I have eliminated anybody who has won a magnet in the past. So, or anybody that's won a prize in any of the past drawings there. So that trimmed down the number there a bit. And I've also eliminated anybody that did not provide their mailing address in the Patreon there as well, because I assume they just don't want to provide that information, and that's totally understandable. So if this goes well, and there's other ones I want to do here in the future, and you are interested in joining one of these, you can join for as little as $1 on the Patreon there. But make sure you include your mailing address on there, because that not only enters you in these as well, but it also enters you. I'm going to put this on there. It also enters you into other mailings I send out there, like the stickers I do each year, newsletters, and whatnot on there. So fortunately, we have 84 members of the Patreon that fall under this category. Let's see. I think we can. I don't want it to block too much of the track. Can I just have? Let's see. Can I take the chat box? I want to take the chat box off of there. But maybe we can. Let me add the external cam on this. Can I do that? Maybe we could just add that really quick. Let's see. Add. Oh yeah, here we go. I have to do this right quick. Video capture, browse capture. Which one is it? Sorry, folks. We're gonna get this set up here really quick, and then we will be racing. And I haven't done a play-by-play yet on this, but I think that I'll see if I can manage that here at the same time. Okay, there's that. Can I get? Okay, I want second. Okay, a second monitor, chat box, external cam. That's what I need to add on this one. Okay, chat box is on there. So it's just external cam I need to add. So let me add you. Where are you? Okay. Video and audio. Audio inputs. Why is it always so hard to find when you're trying to find it here? And then, of course, yeah, if you guys have any other questions from this weekend, we'll dovetail this into that. Let's try you. We'll try add source. Okay, there we go. Oh, there it is. It's just labeled as something else. Okay, now we'll make that smaller. Okay, there we go. We don't need to be that big. We'll drag this over here, and we'll just put it there. Okay, there we go. I don't want to block too much of the track, so I just make it pretty small here, and then we'll bring that back here. All right. Okay, cool. So this might work or this might not work, but we will try to make it work, and we will have 3 winners at the end of it here. So 5-lap race. First place will get the magnet and some hero cards. Second and third place will also get other batches of hero cards. This is from San Diego. First of 2 races. These will be 5-lap races. We're about to get started here. I'm going to get my finger on the starting order here, and we will find out who's the winner. So best of luck to the members. I will post the timestamp for this in my Twitter afterwards so they can tune into this, and we will get going. Whoop, hang on. There we go. Okay. All right. All right. How about this? All right. Are we good? Are we good? Okay. I think we're good. All right. All right. And three, two, one. And they are off. Tyler Heller going for the lead. We got a leaderboard up here. Dustin McCraney for the top spot. Riley Henry in second. Heller back to the third spot. Already a good breakaway for the top three. Move to the outside. McCraney up front. Now it's Riley Henry up front. Michael Harvey median second. It is a dogfight there behind in the third position there. Corey Suit in third. Blitz 83 trying to make a move here to the lead. Michael Harvey Media. Riley Henry now second. Corey Suit in the third spot. Blitz 83 in fourth. Looking further back here again. Yep, still a pretty tight battle up front. Everybody else trying to catch up to the leaders, but Harvey still out front by a little bit. First of 5 laps about to be completed. There we go. Look at everybody else bunching up with the usernames behind. Corey Suit in second. Riley Henry in third, but he's got a huge pack right behind him there as well. Harvey continues to lead as we got the ball camera here as well. Corey Suit in second and Riley Henry in third, but it is getting real tight there as well. Maxime Le Breton making the move for the third position. Maury Johnson in fourth. Henry back to the fifth position. Is the leader still breaking away? Looks like it. Michael Harvey leads lap one, beginning of lap number 2. Maxime Le Breton up to second now. Dustin McCraney back in the third position. And McCraney now breaking away here as well. It's fourth. Corey Suit right there as well. Second is Maxime Le Breton. Leader still Michael Harvey. So 1, 2, and 3. But it is a tight battle for the third spot. McCraney holds third. Colin Northrup to fourth. Tendy's 49.77 on the move now gets up to the third spot. McCraney back to the fourth position. Blitz 83 still in the top 5. Riley Henry back to sixth. Michael Harvey continues to lead. Maxime Le Breton in second. Tendy's 49.77 in third. Dustin McCraney in fourth. Going back to the leader again. Look at that pursuing pack. The lead is big, but the advantage behind is small. Maxime Le Breton in second. Tendy's 49.77. Trying to find a way around in the third position. Dustin McCraney in fourth. Needs to gain the advantage and is really catching up here to Tendy's. Riley Henry now up to the third position. Maxime Le Breton in second. And looking at a closing on the leader here. Michael Harvey Media has the lead. Maxime is catching up as the beginning of lap number 3. Michael Harvey leads with Aaron Young now jumping up to the second spot. Maxime Le Breton in third, and it is a dogfight once more. Harvey has still a good lead, but from second on back, oh, no, we got a challenge for the lead now. David Mays to the lead. David Mays now your leader. Michael Harvey, the dominant one, trying to counterattack and get the lead back. He does get the lead back. David Mays in second. Aaron Young in third. Corey Suit fourth. Maxime Le Breton now trying to get back into the top 3 spots. Again, the top 3 will be your prize winners. Michael Harvey Media continuing a dominant run here with Mays in second. Aaron Young in third. And there's a little bit of a breakaway for the top 4. Going back to the leader again, coming around to begin lap number 4. Michael Harvey, again, your leader. David Mays in second. Aaron Young in third. A little bit of a blind spot on the camera there. Harvey in the lead. And now a battle for the second spot between Aaron Young and David Mays. Maxime Le Breton in fourth with a massive pack right behind her. Michael Harvey coming to the line, but Mays is going to make a move for the top spot. And there he is. Harvey still has the lead. Nope, it's Mays again. Mays has the lead. Aaron Young to second. Harvey drops back to the third spot. Corey Suit in fourth. Coming around for the final lap here. 4 laps we are on. Lap number 4. David Mays leads. Aaron Young in second. Michael Harvey Media back to the third spot. Maxime Le Breton in fourth. Corey Suit in fifth. Look at William Saki up to the 6th spot there. Dustin McCraney in 8th. Tendy's 49.77 drops out of the top 10. Tyler Martin trying to work his way up there. David Mays leads. Aaron Young in second. Maxime Le Breton now in third with Michael Harvey out of the points in the 4th spot. And trying to work his way up there. Looking back again to the advantage. A big advantage now for David Mays going into the corner and coming around for the white flag lap. Mays leads Young and Michael Harvey Media in third. Maxime Le Breton in fourth. Maxime Le Breton back up into third now into the transfer spot. And has a 3 marble advantage there behind her, looking to get real close. Aaron Young in second. David Mays still leads, bouncing off the track here in the final lap of the race. David Mays leads. Maxime Le Breton is now up to second. Michael Harvey in third. Oh, now it's a complete dogfight here. Blitz 83 up to third. Le Breton to second. Mays still leads by open track, but it is anyone's guess from behind that. Blitz 83 comes from nowhere to get to second. Corey Suit in third. Maxime Le Breton trying to counterattack. Second and third coming off the corner on the back straightaway. Mays still leads. Blitz 83 in second. Let's go back to Corey Suit now in third. And shakes off Riley Henry. Harvey drops back to fifth. Now Saki takes fifth from Michael Harvey. Looked like he'll have to make another challenge there in the second race. David Mays still with a big advantage. Second to Blitz 83. The contested spot remains the third spot with Corey Suit now in the spot. Riley Henry there. William Saki in fifth. Michael Harvey sixth. Now a challenge for the third position. And here comes Riley Henry for the position. Bounces off it, but nope, it's going to be Corey Suit ahead of him. Going back to second here. Blitz 83. Looking at third. It's going to be really close here. Oh my goodness. Corey Suit just holds off William Saki for the third spot. David Mays with a big advantage there. Pulls off the victory. Oh my goodness. This is a close one. Good battle there at the end. Let's get the results here as well. David Mays, your winner there, had a good 2-second advantage there with Blitz 83 in the second position, and Corey Suit just narrowly beats out William Saki for the third spot there. I'm going to just take a picture of this on the phone here. These will be your San Diego winners here for the prizes there. Again, so congratulations to David Mays. He will win the San Diego magnet there. Blitz 83 in the second spot. Corey Suit in the third position. They will be receiving the prizes soon, so make sure your addresses are up to date. I will check those as well and get those out in the mail. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that there. We're going to have a second one here in just a moment, and that will be for the Sears Point magnet, because we had two separate ones. Sears Point for, again, magnet, and two other bundles there of hero cards. So we will go to the next race. Now, there's another track I liked here on this. I'm trying to remember what it was called. So we will do that too. So let me jump right into that. Where's my notes? Okay, there we go. Lakeshore, that's the one I wanted to do. Who got the last place run here on this one too? KS Wheels there back there. Really tight field there, just by a couple of seconds there, with Brandon Lockwich and NASCAR John there towards the back of the field there too. Okay, so I need to eliminate these three from the next race. So let me do that, and we will get their names through here. All right. Go back to the race menu here. So yeah, a little something different here. We'll see. Maybe we'll do some other username races or something like that down the line. We can play around with this format. I need to get the menu down here. Where was that? Oh, I think it was down here. There we go. Use custom names. All right. So to make things fair, we will eliminate our three winners. So David Mays, that'll be one. We'll get Blitz 83. There is two. And Corey Suit in the third spot. All right. So we will get out of here. All right. Yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge with the camera work there, trying to get the third place spot. We had a little bit of a contention there. We had the leader pulling away by a good margin. But that's a little bit of how it plays out. All right, here we go. Lakeshore, that was the one I wanted to do. Okay, here we go. We got 81 this time. So we will have three fewer ones. And we will jump right into that. So we will get into our second race here too. Yeah, Jill's marble runs. Exactly. Yeah, it definitely is some Marbula 1 element. So yeah, I saw somebody else do this on their channel, and I thought this seemed like a real fun idea. So we'll do that. So again, we got a 5-lap race. This will be for the Sears Point then. So again, for those of you, again, patreon.com/lastcaronbrock. Winner will receive the magnet and some hero cards. Second and third place will also receive a bundle of hero cards there as well. And we have 81 starters. We will find out who the winners will be. First, second, and third will receive prizes. And we will start here in 3, 2, and 1. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing. RKD up front. Justin Kitchens in second. Tendies 49.77 looking good again. Kitchens on the break. RKD in second. Tendies 49.77 now has the lead. No, now it's Kitchens with Kevin in the third spot, trying to get the second position. Jeff Jones, different cast of characters up front here. Kitchens leads. Tendies 49.77. Jeff Jones in third, but everybody very tightly packed through the chicane here. Kitchens leads 49.77, trying to get the top spot. Kevin now joining the battle here. And Justin Kitchens in third. Nope, make that Kevin. No, make that Wimmer 33 fan. As Jason the Demon Scammer trying to get into the mix here. Tendies 49.77, your leader on the first of 5 laps. Chris Wolf in second now, with Wimmer 33 fan in third. And it is a close battle for the second and third spots there between Wolf and 33 fan. And oh my goodness, where did all these competitors come from? It's going to be a complete shuffle with Matthew Simmons taking the lead. And Aiden T06 in second. Chris Wolf now in third. Wimmer 33 fan drops down to the 5th spot with Mark Chavez in 6th. Sean Parks, Tendies 49.77. Tyler Martin, RKD in the mix. Simmons leads. Aiden T06. Wimmer 33 fan in the 3rd spot. Great recovery there after dropping several spots there in that shuffle near the front of the field. Again, a big lead for your leader with Matthew Simmons up front. Battle is on for second as we start lap number 2. Aiden T06 in second. Now Wimmer 33 fan going for second. Now taking back the 3rd spot with Simmons still up front, but by a much smaller margin. Aiden T06 in second. Wimmer 33 fan in third. Mark Chavez in 4th. Sean Parks battling in the top 5 here as well. Then we got Kuzco in 7th, getting into the top 10. Kelly Long gets into the top 10 for the first time. Simmons leads. Now Aiden T06 going for the lead and gets it now. Nope, does it back. Does it again. Aiden T06, your leader. Simmons in second. Now drops out of the points with Sean Parks into second. Look at this battle. Sean Parks in the 2nd spot and Mark Chavez in 3rd. Chavez now making a move for the 2nd position. Chavez in 3rd. Justin Kitchens in 4th. Matthew Simmons still being a determined competitor in the 5th spot. Wimmer 33 fan trying to get into the top 5. Now a challenge for the lead as Sean Parks takes the lead now for the Magnet. Battle for the Magnet is on with Aiden T06 in 2nd. Mark Chavez in 3rd. Look at Sean O'Deal get into the mix. Sean O'Deal up into the 3rd spot. Wimmer 33 fan in 4th. Justin Kitchens in 5th. Wimmer 33 fan to the lead now with Sean Parks in 2nd. This is only lap number 2, and they're battling like the last lap of the race. Chavez trying to get the top spot. Sean Parks in 3rd. Sean O'Deal in 4th. Tendies 49.77 trying to get up there. Beginning of lap number 3. Wimmer 33 fan gets snookered by Tendies 49.77, but gets the spot back. Wimmer 33 fan, Sean O'Deal, and Sean Parks now in 3rd with Tendies 49.77. Now a challenge for the lead. Sean O'Deal gets the lead. Wimmer 33 fan in 2nd. Sean Parks in 3rd. Tendies 49.77. And still a battle for the 2nd spot. Now you got 4 marbles going by. Story Gaming into the mix in the 3rd spot. Tendies 49.77 and 2nd. Look at this. 4 marbles going for the 2nd through 5th spots here. With now Wimmer 33 fan back to 2nd. Tendies 49.77. Now Story Gaming in the mix. Cuzco back up there. Aiden T06 drops out of the top 5. Nicholas Michelini into the top 10. Chris Wolf in the mix here. Sean O'Deal leads. Story Gaming in 2nd. Tendies 49.77 in a tight battle for 2nd spot. Sean O'Deal leads. Oh, we got a collision there. Story Gaming takes 2nd. Tendies 49.77. That drops Wimmer fan back to 5th. Jared Casey, where did he come from? He's got a massive run for the 2nd spot. Now the lead here. Jared Casey now your leader out of nowhere on lap number 3. Tendies 49.77 takes the lead. Sean O'Deal in 3rd. Sean Parks battling Sean. Battle of the Seans for the 3rd spot here. Tendies 49.77. Jared Casey, Sean O'Deal. They're your top 3. And we have a battle for 2nd now at the beginning of lap number 4. Sean O'Deal trying to get the 2nd spot. Tendies 49.77 still up front, but now under attack from Sean Parks, who takes the lead. Sean Parks has the lead. Tendies 49.77. Jared Casey now to the lead. Now Tendies again. I don't know how many lead changes we've even had at this point. Tendies 49.77. Battle is on in the 2nd spot. Jared Casey and Story Gaming in 3rd. Sean O'Deal in 4th. Justin Kitchens into the top 5. Wimmer 33 fan in 9th. Now drops out of the top 10. Liam Uravig into the top 10. Battle is on for the lead. Story Gaming trying to get it from Tendies. Story Gaming all over him, right in the tracks of his marble. Tendy's 49.77. Story Gaming in second. Sean O'Deal in the third spot. Jared Casey in fourth. Sean Parks in fifth. Coming up to the white flag lap here for Tendy's 49.77. And it's Story Gaming who will take the lead. No, Tendy's gets it back again. Tendy's bounces off and back into the lead here with Story Gaming in second and Sean Parks in third. Jared Casey and Justin Kimmer just on the outside. Wimmer 33 fan back into the mix again. Up to the seventh spot. Tendy's 49.77. Second and third place breaking away here. Story Gaming looking back at Sean Parks. Two marbles catching up to third place with Jared Casey and Kelly Long. Justin Kitchens in the mix. Liam Uravig. Wimmer 33 fan and white flag for Tendy's 49.77. Your leader over Story Gaming with Sean Parks in third. Top three trying to break away. It looks like there could be a challenge for the lead with Story Gaming. Let's see if Story Gaming can take the lead and the magnet away from Tendy's. Story Gaming in second. Sean Parks in third. They have pulled away by a good margin now. Where is fourth place? Jared Casey now has to deal with Nicholas Michelini and other competitors back there. Top three look like they might break away from the field. Tendy's, Story, and Sean, your leaders, coming on through the chicane here. Tendy's leads with Story Gaming in second. Story trying to go for the lead now, looking for the magnet with Sean Parks in third still. Kelly Long in fourth. Now we have a battle for the third spot. Kelly Long trying to get it from Sean. Kelly and Sean trying to battle at the end. And we got a battle for the lead with Story Gaming getting back around. Tendy's here. Story Gaming, your leader, coming down to the stripe. Where is the finish line? Oh, we got a collision there. Tendy's drops back. Tendy's is losing ground back to the third spot. Story Gaming leads. Kelly Long in second. And Tendy's in third. Story Gaming leads. Kelly Long in second. Tendy's in the third position. Going through the chicane again. My goodness, where is the finish line on this track? Story Gaming continues to lead still. Jared Casey in second, and everybody else is catching third place. Kelly Long may have to defend here in the final couple of corners. Story Gaming comes down the stripe and wins. Second to Casey. Third gets to Long. Long holds off Sean Parks. Tremendous battle there. Oh my goodness. What a race that was. Look at that. Story Gaming gets the Sears Point magnet. A very, very hard fought race there at the end. Couldn't tell who was going to get third spot there at the final break there. So again, congratulations. Story Gaming gets the Sears Point magnet, and the bundles of hero cards for second and third place will go to Jared Casey and to Kelly Long. So congratulations to our 6 winners here. Again, for those of you that are watching this on stream after the fact here, again, it's David Mays, Blitz 83, and Corey Suit, your winners from the San Diego race. Winners from the Sears Point race, Story Gaming, Jared Casey, and Kelly Long. So congratulations to all our winners. And to those of you who came up a little bit further back in the pack, not to worry. I very much enjoyed this, and I hope you guys did it as well. I will plan on doing this again for our future ones. So anybody that joins the Patreon between after we got back from San Diego to our next race, whenever that is, we're looking at maybe some races later this fall. You will be entered in this same drawing, and this will be our means of doing the drawing there. Apologies to Ben Schneider there for the last place finish, but again, sometimes last does indeed happen there as well. So we'll get that all set up for you guys. But if you're interested in, again, joining in one of these, join any level, the Patreon at patreon.com/LascarOnBrock. Make sure that you include your mailing address so I know to include you in giveaways as well as stickers I send to you. And again, I hope you enjoyed this as well. So I'm going to take another break here. We will be back here for our trivia portion and wrap up the show here for this evening. So again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll be back in just a moment. righty, ladies and gentlemen, we'll do a couple trivia questions just to wrap up because I know we got some fans that very much enjoy our Max Headroom edition version here of our trivia program here. And I did see the mention here. Thank you very much, Marcus Hurtado, for posting. Excuse me, posting Pockrus's tweet here. No issues in tech inspection. Indeed, Briscoe is the winner. Denny Hamlin and Alex Bowman's cars will go to R&D. So again, congratulations to not to Denny Hamlin, to Chase Briscoe for pulling off the victory here today. And unfortunately, it is going to be another Connor Zilic article there for your last place finisher. So we will have that tonight. So yes, this being confirmed a few minutes there as well. And yes, we did a little bit of trivia there last week. I think I was completely falling asleep there during that. Was I even like, I don't even know if I was even fully awake when I was doing the trivia last week. I know I turned it on and then I was kind of like losing track of what I was saying. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just stop the show here back then. So that was a fun one. If you want to check that out. So which driver do you want? We'll do a couple questions here from here and do that. Then we don't have a 19 car on here for Briscoe. So we're gonna have to figure out something here on this. But yeah, we'll see what we got here as well. So we got the 18 car. We can get Bobby Labonte. Do we want to do Stewart maybe for Stewart Haas Racing, where Briscoe used to run? That might be a fun one. Any thoughts on that one? Maybe we can do. Let's see. What would be another good mix with Briscoe? We don't have a Bass Pro car back then. I mean, Earnhardt used to run that as a special paint scheme. That could be another one to look at. Hang on, I need to click this. This video playing on my Twitter feed here is distracting me a little bit. Dude. Let's see here. Boop, 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 boop. Let's see. Going back to here, we did. That's right. We did Chad Little before for Van Gisbergen. Kenny Wallace. Any preferences on here? Yeah, no 19 car back then. Yeah, let's do the 20. Let's do Stewart. Stewart would be good. That's a good connection there um, with Briscoe. All right. Now we're gonna go. We're gonna go old school gaming here this time. All right. Whoop. Let's turn off the timer here. Oop, come on, mouse. There we go. We go in here. We'll turn off the timer. Timer length. Unlimited time. Return to the game. Alrighty, let's start with the NASCAR question here, folks. Yeah, why not 20? That works. Turn the volume up a little bit here. Can you guys hear this okay? All right, what year was the first NASCAR sanctioned strictly stock race held? What was the year? That was at 47, 48, 50, or 49? Oh yeah, Richard Petty would have been a good choice, Jimmy. Yeah, you're right. It was his 89th birthday. Happy birthday to the King. Of course, 4th of July weekend. Who knows? Maybe Eric Jones will win. Maybe we'll pop Richard Petty here on this one too. That's a tough call. Yeah, good call. We'll do Stewart here for this one. That's fine. What year was the first NASCAR sanctioned strictly stock race held? So was it 47, 48, 50, or 49? You hear nothing. Nothing, Beast of Metal. Okay. All right. We got them all over the place. You got 47, 48, 49. How about 47? Oh, it was 49. It was 49. You guys are right. Ooh, let's do a wild card. We get the really good ones here. All righty. Yeah, Eric Jones will probably be good at Darlington. Absolutely. Coming up on that one. We'll see what happens in Atlanta next week. Ooh. There we go. Now here's a fun question. This is a good wild card question. Who gets to race in the annual FINA Piggly Wiggly Championship? Don't look it up. Try to guess it here. Transporter drivers, Winston Cup champions, rookie drivers, or Piggly pole winners? Eli Gold seemed to have some fun with the voice. You can't hear it? You can't hear it, Beast of Metal? I have it turned up here. It's about 60%. I'll bump it up a little more here. Is that a little better? Oop, boop. All right, who gets to race in the annual FINA Piggly Wiggly Championship? Is it Transporter drivers, Winston Cup champions, rookie drivers, or Piggly pole winners? You cannot hear it. Uh-oh. Let's try to get that working. Pit Road Penguins. Yeah, there you go. Let me get my input down here. I can't hear the voice or the music. Okay, we need to get that turned up. Audio input. I don't see it on here. That's weird. We crank that up. There's no game audio at all. Did I not plug something in here? Nope, everything's plugged in. Should be connected. Let's try you. Nope, you're in. Okay. Huh, yeah, I'm seeing it here. I'm seeing my audio, but I'm not seeing the audio from the game. It is a little muffled. How about this? Audio input. Okay, let's try that. Oh, there we go. Is that better? There we go. Now I'm seeing it. Gosh, I hope I didn't mess up the marble race segment. Turn that down. How about now? Let's wait for here. Give it a few seconds. I see the wave bar here. I don't know why I didn't play that earlier. That's bizarre. Usually when it shows 2 bars, that indicates that it's got the Roadcaster synced up there. There it is. Okay, good. Good. Okay, sorry about that, folks. Yeah, Eli Gold, when he said Piggly pole winners, he's like, Piggly pole winners. That was a fun thing to say. All right. I think you guys are right. I think it's the transporter drivers. That sounds right. There we go. Now we're good. Okay. We'll do a couple more questions here so you can get the actual audio experience, the full experience. Okay. Good. Yeah, there really wasn't any sound on the marble thing, so I guess there wasn't really much of a loss on that. As long as you can hear me, so I guess that was it. Yeah, is Marble Race supposed to have audio? Not really. It has a little bit. It's very faint. It has music playing in between. But, you know, I'm not really worried about that. It only has music playing on the menus. So I didn't really have anything there. Yeah, it had very, very little audio. I could hear it on mine. So that's okay.
Select a category by moving to one of the highlighted time.
Let's go back to teams. Yeah, it's skipping. It's supposed to skip. It's chugging here. That's what it does.
What car owner had a record 12 wins at Atlanta through 1997? Junior Johnson, Petty Enterprises, Richard Childress, Wood Brothers.
Okay, here we go. What car owner had a record 12 wins in Atlanta through 1997? Was it Junior Johnson, Petty Enterprises, Richard Childress, or the Wood Brothers? Let me know. Ooh, excellent. Those of you in the Patreon, new NASCAR Man history video coming. I will leave it to him to announce what the subject is here. But yes, there's going to be some more coming up here as well. Do I think Hamlin wins the title this year, Andrew? I think so. If he keeps doing what he's doing. Today was probably a bad day for him, and he got 4th. I mean, that's if you get those kind of runs, and if he just treats the chase like just the rest of the year and doesn't view it as a reset, yeah, I think he's going to be very tough to beat. And Reddick seems to be tripping up where Hamlin isn't. And I hope TNT plays this up more in these next couple of weeks because they've really had some problems out all of a sudden. So we'll see. Yeah, I think Wood Brothers, I think you guys are right about that. Let's see.
Wood Brothers.
Oh, yeah, if Eric Jones wins, probably have to do John Andretti. Yeah, it's true. We got a couple of options on that. My voice cleared up, too. Oh, no. I hope my voice wasn't terrible through this whole thing. Gosh, was it sounding like that on here? Okay. Well, I might have just screwed up that whole segment there with that. Okay, well, can't do anything about it. It had it set to a default, but the default should be good. Hope I scared all the viewers away. It's like, oh no, the audio sounds terrible. Yeah, that's never good. See, you guys are too nice. If my audio sounds terrible, tell me audio sounds terrible. I will fix that. Alrighty. Yeah. Sometimes this thing just ensnares things.
Any highlighted tile.
Okay. Let's do tracks. Yes, Andrew, that picking up the pieces video, that'll be coming, that'll be public as soon as I get the new video done for the members.
Dirt,
so that'll be coming
oval,
up.
Drag or road courses by 1998. Texas, North Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania.
All right, what state had a total of 64 concrete, dirt, oval, drag, or road courses by 1998? Was it Texas, North Carolina, Virginia, or Pennsylvania? You know, the audio probably cut out because I switched the mic. Maybe that was it. The input wasn't there. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It's okay. Yeah, you did mention it, BSML, but I saw other people saying that it was only sounding like that to you, so I didn't change anything. So yeah, I did see your message, though. I appreciate the heads up. But I didn't see anybody else mention it, so I just kind of pushed forward. But yes, thank you, Andrew. Yeah, I'm working on another video for the members only. It's going to be a two-parter. That's why it's taking a bit longer. But as soon as I get that done, yeah, then the Irwin video will be ready. So stay tuned for that. It's gonna be a little bit of time, though, so you might want to... If you're waiting to join a certain level to get access to it, I would just wait a little bit on that. What state had a total of 64 concrete, dirt, oval? I hope this didn't sound like complete crap at the first part of the show. That would suck. I really enjoyed doing that play-by-play thing, but maybe it sounded too off. That's okay. We'll play it by ear. We didn't lose all our viewers here, so that's okay. Texas, North Carolina, Virginia, or Pennsylvania? Which state had a total of 64 concrete, dirt, oval, drag, or road courses by 1998? Okay. So I'm going to kind of lean towards North Carolina, but we'll see.
Texas.
Oh, it's Texas. Oh, my goodness.
Click on the tachometer to roll the die.
Okie dokie.
Select a category by moving to one of the...
Ooh, another wild card question.
Who figured aliens must have took me up in a spaceship and straightened me out? Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, John Andretti, Kyle Petty.
Alrighty, well, here's a fun one. Who figured aliens must have... I think we'll make this the last question. This is too good of one. Who figured aliens must have took me up in a spaceship and straightened me out? Was it Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, John Andretti, or Kyle Petty? Now, that's an interesting selection of drivers, too. Tough call. Who said that? Aliens must have took me up in a spaceship and straightened me out. By the way, we saw Disclosure Day on the way to the race there. That movie was terrible. Laughably bad. Oh my God. But maybe if one of these drivers were in it, it would have been better. I don't know. Yeah, no worries, Beast of Metal. I appreciate you guys sticking with me here. That's no worries. We'll get it straightened out. Now we got the mic switched in here, and I'm very happy with this setup. I think we'll have some good stuff to look forward to. So, yeah, we'll see. We got Atlanta next week. Got a couple of races that are going to be different times of the day. We got Wilkesboro after that. Oh, that's going to be a fun one. That's going to be a fun one. Kenny Wallace, he's that weird. Yeah, that's possible. Needed a little bit more juice. Kyle Petty or Dale Earnhardt. I can picture either of them saying, especially Kyle Petty. I kind of like Kyle Petty, but I feel like maybe it's Earnhardt. Maybe he said it after the 97 Darlington incident.
Dale Earnhardt.
There we go. There we go. You guys are too good.
Take another turn.
All right. Well, here, we'll tell you what, folks. I'm going to back out of this here because I'm anxious to hear what the audio sounds like on the main part. Okay, we still got the Alan Bestwick audio.
Never be able to overcome that, even with the help of several caution flags later in the event.
Jeez, it sounds like I'm doing this at the racetrack there with that in the background here. I actually do have my Bobby Hamilton Petty shirt on here in the meantime. Here we go. I don't know if you can see it very well here on the show. Have I worn this on here? I don't know if I've worn this on. But I brought up my my Retro Rifle red, white, and blue shirt here for tonight. And then I got, here we go. You can see. There we go. There we are. We got Bobby Hamilton, the 95 version of the Pontiac. There we go. That's our shirt here for the evening on the show here as well. So there we go. Well, tell you what, folks, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up there on that. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. It looks like my chat is reset. It's live after a minute. That's not good either. Okay. Well, hopefully we haven't lost everybody's viewership here in the meantime. But we'll go ahead and wrap up the show here for today. So, again, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Congratulations to Chase Briscoe on a very well-deserved victory out in Chicagoland earlier today. Yep, it is a Where's Waldo kind of design here, Marcus. It's supposed to have Waldo actually in this design, but I haven't found him yet. So, still working on that. You're still here. Okay, good, good. So, again, congratulations to Chase Briscoe for the victory earlier tonight. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you also to our Patreon members, and congratulations to our 6 winners earlier tonight in the drawing. We'll get the audio worked out there. The next time we'll be doing one of those there too. But in the meantime, we'll get that all set up there in the meantime. So again, in the meantime, the website is lastcar.info. My Twitter handle is @lastcaronbrock. The Patreon is patreon.com/lastcaronbrock. Next week, our next show is going to be after the Cup Series race at Echo Park Speedway, also known as Atlanta Motor Speedway, the video game version of it there. So we're going to do we'll talk about the O'Reilly and the Cup Series action, and then the Truck Series will be in Lime Rock Park to catch up on their road course action there as well. We'll talk about all 3 races here and the last place finishers and everything else in between. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and I will see you all next time. Have a happy 4th of July weekend, everyone, and yeah, we'll pick up on this next time. So again, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Take care.